Welcome to this week's edition of the Coaches Show. Thanks once again, Coach Chambers, for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about the early penalties that started off the game Friday night that seemed to put you back in a hole to set up for an early interception?
Yeah, it was just a false start by, a couple of our linemen. And it, puts you in the hole. Very first drive, we won the toss. We wanted to take the ball and go down and try to get some points on the board. And, next thing you know, you're first and 15. It just puts your offense, when you get behind the sticks, it's just, it's tough on you. And
that seemed to be, for the first couple drives, it seemed like they were slow getting started. Then you come out, have a 14-7 game.
Right.
What seemed to be the disconnect there? You have the ball late in the second quarter, but you can't seem to get the guys going, and it seemed to kind of fall apart on you.
Well, I think you got to give Dawson credit, on some of that. They were playing faster than we were playing, and it looked like they were, just more ready to play than we were. It's not a bad bus ride down there, so we really can't make any excuses. I think you got to give them credit for that. They were just playing faster than we were.
Did it seem like some of the receivers on your part were running different routes? It seemed like Trevor was having a hard time getting some completions early on.
Yeah, we did have some. There were some things in there that we had some communication on. Where we've got a certain route called, a certain series called, and we don't really get the route run into the coverage, into that zone the way we want to do it. And that's one of the difficult parts about when you throw as much as we throw, which is we want to try to run and throw, stay balanced. But if you get some communication problems in there, or if someone doesn't hear the play, and they run something different, then it can throw the quarterback's rhythm off.
And those throws set up some pretty good runs. Can you tell me, was the Satterfield run, the 67-yard run, was that set up, designed for him to go outside, or was that just a big hole that he had found?
I tell you, it was really set up to go outside, and they did a nice job of coming up and turning him back inside. He made a couple of jump cuts, back inside, made a couple of guys missed, and kind of broke it, back across the field. And he made a run that we know that he's capable of doing, and that really kind of energized us at that point. And it was just, we had a couple of those turnovers in the special teams game, and that really just hurt our momentum at that point.
How do you go in preparing for those special teams errors? Do you do anything different this week in practice?
Well, we had a situation where we had some guys that were playing a lot early on. They were doing a lot of no huddle. And a lot of our guys this point of the year play both ways, and so we tried to make some substitutions in there. And it's something we talk about at practice. You and I've talked about it before, ball security. And here again, I think you got to give Dawson credit. They came up and ran to the ball and made a nice lick. The ball pops out, and they came up with two of those in the special teams, and that really just kind of turned that game around to for me at that point.
You talk about their speed. It seemed like from the sidelines that this team, Dawson's a lot quicker in their hurry up than any other team you've faced this year.
Yeah, that was probably the fastest we have seen that. Pickens ran it really fast in the scrimmage, and the officials were setting the clock really quick, and we were having to get the defense called and get lined up. I thought for the most part we got lined up and where we needed to go, but it just it put us into a mindset of trying to play faster. And I think early on in that game they just played faster than we did, mentally and physically.
You going into the last game, how do you prepare for the emotional game for the 9 seniors that you have on your team?
Yeah, I think they'll be ready to go. I mean, it's the last one. It's the last time that they'll all play together. A couple of weeks ago, we had an emotional game with senior night, and thought we played really hard in that game against Buford. But it's the last time these guys all play together, and that's our message this week. Let's go out on a winning note. Let's play together. and you know, we got our game plan ready to go, and you know, it's just going to boil down to you know, who wants it more in this one. You know, East Hall's very athletic. Their quarterback's very athletic as well. They got a lot of athletic players, and you know, they'll present us a lot of problems. But you know, I don't think they've had the season that they wanted to. We haven't had the season that we wanted to have, and so you know, this one's just, I think, going to boil down to who wants to really finish the season.
How hard do you think it's going to be for those 9 seniors, their last game being on the road instead of at home with the home fans?
Yeah, it's different. It's different when you're on the road. You know, the one thing that you can kind of, you know, try to feed off of a little bit is, you know, our seniors last year played here at home and lost to these guys on senior night. So, you know, it's something we can go down there and beat them on their senior night. So,
well, good luck as you travel to East Hall this week, Coach.
All right, thank you.